Welcome to Toxic from Reddit, where real toxic relationship stories come to life. Here you'll hear true stories from people who experience toxic relationships from different perspectives. Partners dealing with cheating, manipulation, gaslighting, red flags, and all the emotional chaos that comes with loving someone who hurts you. Stories of betrayal, of finding strength to leave, of discovering the truth, of heartbreak, of healing, and the raw reality of toxic love. This is a real story, shared anonymously on Reddit. Some details have been changed to protect the identity of the people involved. Hi everyone, my name is Emma. I'm 28 years old and I live in Nashville, Tennessee, and I need to tell you about the most devastating and humiliating moment of my entire life, which is that 4 weeks ago, on what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life, my wedding day, my younger sister stood up during the reception in front of all 200 of our guests and announced that she's 4 months pregnant with my fiancé's baby, that they've been having an affair for over a year, and that she's in love with him and he's in love with her, and now I'm dealing with the complete destruction of my marriage before it even really began, the betrayal of both my sister and my husband, the humiliation of having my wedding turned into a nightmare in front of everyone I know, and the realization that the two people I loved most in the world have been lying to me and betraying me for over a year. I'm going to tell you this entire story from the beginning because there's so much history and so many painful details that you need to understand the full scope of this betrayal. My sister's name is Olivia. She's 25 years old, and we grew up very close, like we shared a room growing up. We told each other everything, and we were best friends as well as sisters. Olivia and I have always been different. Like, I was the responsible older sister who got good grades and followed the rules, and Olivia was the wild younger sister who was always getting into trouble and pushing boundaries. But despite our differences, we were always close, and I always looked out for Olivia and protected her. Growing up, Olivia always seemed to want what I had. Like, if I got a new toy, Olivia would want the same toy. If I had a boyfriend, Olivia would flirt with him. And if I achieved something, Olivia would try to one-up me. I always dismissed this behavior as normal sibling rivalry, and I never thought too much about it. When I was 25 years old, I met my now husband Tyler at a friend's barbecue, and I fell in love with him almost immediately. Tyler was charming and handsome and successful, and he treated me like a queen. Tyler and I started dating, and our relationship was amazing. Like, we had great chemistry, we had fun together, and we were very compatible. About 2 months into our relationship, I introduced Tyler to my family, including Olivia, and I was excited for my family to meet the man I was falling in love with. The dinner went well, and everyone seemed to like Tyler, including Olivia, who told me after dinner that she thought Tyler was great, and that she was happy for me. I noticed that Olivia seemed very interested in Tyler. Like, she was asking him a lot of questions. She was laughing at all of his jokes, and she seemed to be flirting with him a little bit. But I dismissed this as Olivia just being friendly, and I didn't think anything of it. As my relationship with Tyler progressed, Olivia started coming around more often. Like, she would show up at my apartment unannounced. She would invite herself to join Tyler and me on our dates, and she was always texting me asking what Tyler and I were doing. At first, I thought it was sweet that Olivia wanted to spend time with me. But after a while, it started to feel like Olivia was being intrusive. I mentioned to Tyler that I felt like Olivia was around too much, and Tyler said that he didn't mind, that Olivia was my sister, and that it was nice that she wanted to be close to us. I felt guilty for being annoyed by Olivia's presence, so I tried to be more welcoming and include her in our plans. About a year into my relationship with Tyler, he proposed to me, and I said yes immediately. I was so excited to marry Tyler and to start our life together, and I asked Olivia to be my maid of honor. Olivia seemed thrilled, and she said that she would be honored to be my maid of honor. Olivia helped me plan my wedding, and she was very involved in every aspect of the planning, from choosing the venue to picking out bridesmaid dresses to planning the bachelorette party. Olivia seemed like the perfect maid of honor, like she was helpful and supportive, and she seemed genuinely excited for my wedding. Tyler and I had a long engagement, about a year and a half, because we wanted to save money and plan the perfect wedding. During our engagement, Olivia continued to be very present in our lives. Like, she was always at our apartment, she was always texting Tyler, and she was always inserting herself into our plans. I started to feel uncomfortable with how close Olivia and Tyler seemed to be getting. Like, they would have inside jokes. They would text each other without including me, and they seemed to have a connection that made me uneasy. When I mentioned this to Tyler, he said that I was being paranoid, that Olivia was my sister and that he was just being friendly with her. I felt like I was being unreasonable, so I pushed my concerns aside and tried not to think about it. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off, like the way Olivia would look at Tyler, the way she would touch his arm when she talked to him, and the way she would find excuses to be alone with him. About 6 months before our wedding, I noticed that Tyler started being more distant with me, like he was less affectionate, he was working late more often, and he seemed distracted and preoccupied. When I asked Tyler if everything was okay, he would say that he was just stressed about work and about the wedding planning, and that I shouldn't worry. I also noticed that Olivia seemed to be acting strange, like she was being secretive with her phone. She was canceling plans with me at the last minute, and she seemed to be avoiding me. When I asked Olivia what was going on, she would say that she was just busy with work and with her own life, and that everything was fine. Looking back now, I can see that this was when Tyler and Olivia's affair was probably in full swing. But at the time, I was so focused on wedding planning and so trusting of both of them that I didn't see what was happening right in front of me. About 3 months before our wedding, I walked into my apartment unexpectedly one afternoon because I had forgotten something, and I found Tyler and Olivia sitting very close together on the couch, and they both looked startled and guilty when I walked in. I asked them what they were doing, and Tyler said that Olivia had stopped by to drop off some wedding stuff and that they were just talking. I felt like something was off, but I didn't have any proof that anything inappropriate was happening, so I let it go. But after that incident, I started paying more attention to Tyler and Olivia's interactions, and I started noticing more things that made me uncomfortable. Like, I noticed that Tyler and Olivia would sometimes exchange looks that seemed meaningful. I noticed that they would sometimes leave the room together to have private conversations, and I noticed that Olivia seemed to know things about Tyler that I hadn't told her. About 2 months before our wedding, I found a text message on Tyler's phone from Olivia that said, "I can't wait to see you tonight. I've been thinking about you all day." I confronted Tyler about the text, and Tyler said that he and Olivia had been planning a surprise for me for the wedding, and that's what the text was about. I wanted to believe Tyler, but something about his explanation didn't feel right. I asked Tyler to show me the rest of his text conversation with Olivia, and Tyler said that he had deleted the messages because he didn't want me to see the surprise. I felt like Tyler was lying to me, but I didn't have any proof, and I didn't want to accuse him of something without evidence. I decided to talk to Olivia about the text message, and I asked her what she and Tyler were planning. Olivia seemed nervous, and she said that they were planning a special surprise for me for the wedding, and that I would find out soon enough. Olivia's explanation matched Tyler's explanation, so I decided to believe them, even though I still felt uneasy. As our wedding day approached, I was feeling more and more anxious. Like I had this nagging feeling that something was wrong, but I couldn't put my finger on what it was. I tried to push these feelings aside and focus on being excited about my wedding, but the anxiety was always there in the background. The week before our wedding, Olivia seemed particularly stressed and emotional. Like she was crying a lot, she was being short-tempered with me, and she seemed like she was on the verge of a breakdown. I asked Olivia what was wrong, and Olivia said that she was just overwhelmed with maid of honor duties and with her own personal stuff, and that she would be fine. I tried to be supportive and help Olivia with whatever she was dealing with, but Olivia kept pushing me away and saying that she needed to handle it on her own. The day before our wedding, we had our rehearsal dinner, and Olivia seemed very distant and sad, like she barely spoke to anyone, and she left early saying that she wasn't feeling well. I was worried about Olivia, but I was also focused on my wedding and on making sure that everything was perfect. Tyler also seemed off at the rehearsal dinner, like he was quiet and distracted, and he seemed like he didn't want to be there. When I asked Tyler if he was okay, he said that he was just nervous about the wedding, and that he would be fine. The morning of my wedding, I woke up feeling excited and happy, like this was the day I had been dreaming about and planning for a year and a half, and I was finally going to marry the man I loved. I got ready with my bridesmaids, including Olivia, and we had champagne and took pictures, and it was a beautiful morning. Olivia seemed very quiet and withdrawn, and she looked like she had been crying. But when I asked her if she was okay, she said that she was just emotional because her big sister was getting married. I hugged Olivia and told her that I loved her, and Olivia hugged me back and said that she loved me too. The wedding ceremony was beautiful. Like everything went perfectly. Tyler and I exchanged vows, we said I do, and we kissed as husband and wife. I felt like the happiest woman in the world, and I was so excited to celebrate with all of our friends and family at the reception. The reception started, and everyone was having a great time. Like people were eating and drinking and dancing, and the atmosphere was joyful and festive. Tyler and I had our first dance, we cut the cake, and we were enjoying every moment of our special day. About 2 hours into the reception, it was time for the maid of honor toast, and Olivia stood up with a microphone to give her speech. I was excited to hear what Olivia was going to say, and I was expecting a sweet and funny speech about our sisterhood and about my relationship with Tyler. Olivia started her speech by talking about how close we had always been as sisters, and about how much she loved me. But then Olivia's tone changed, and she said that she had something important to tell me, something that she couldn't keep secret anymore. My heart started racing, and I had a bad feeling about what Olivia was about to say. Olivia took a deep breath, and then she said, "Emma, I'm so sorry, but I can't let you start your marriage based on a lie. Tyler and I have been having an affair for the past year. I'm 4 months pregnant with his baby, and we're in love with each other." The room went completely silent. Like everyone stopped talking and moving, and all eyes were on Olivia, and then on me, and then on Tyler. I felt like I couldn't breathe, like the room was spinning, and I thought I was going to pass out. I looked at Tyler, and his face was white, and he looked like he was in shock. I looked at Olivia, and she was crying, and she said, "I'm so sorry, Emma. I never meant for this to happen, but Tyler and I fell in love, and we couldn't help ourselves. I couldn't process what was happening. Like, this couldn't be real. This had to be a nightmare. There was no way that my sister and my husband had been having an affair and that my sister was pregnant with my husband's baby." I stood up from my seat and I looked at Tyler, and I said, "Tyler, tell me this isn't true. Tell me that Olivia is lying." Tyler just sat there, not saying anything, and I said, "Tyler, say something." Tyler finally spoke, and he said, "Emma, I'm so sorry. It's true. Olivia and I have been seeing each other, and she's pregnant with my baby." I felt like my heart had been ripped out of my chest, like I couldn't believe that the man I had just married, the man I loved more than anything, had been cheating on me with my own sister. I looked around the room, and everyone was staring at us, and I felt so humiliated and embarrassed. I couldn't stay there. I couldn't be in that room with Tyler and Olivia and all of those people, so I grabbed my dress, and I ran out of the reception hall. I could hear people calling after me, but I didn't stop. I just ran to the bridal suite and locked myself inside. I was crying hysterically, and I couldn't catch my breath, and I felt like my entire world had just collapsed. My mom and my bridesmaids came to the bridal suite and knocked on the door, and they were begging me to let them in. I finally opened the door, and my mom hugged me, and I just sobbed in her arms. My mom told me that after I left, Tyler and Olivia had left the reception together, and that all of the guests had left, and that the reception was over. My mom said that she couldn't believe what Olivia and Tyler had done, and that she was so sorry that my wedding had been ruined. I asked my mom why Olivia would do this to me, why she would have an affair with my fiancé, and then announce it at my wedding in front of everyone. My mom said that she didn't know, that she didn't understand how Olivia could be so cruel, and that she was heartbroken for me. I spent my wedding night in the bridal suite, still in my wedding dress, crying and trying to process what had happened. I couldn't believe that my sister, the person I had been closest to my entire life, had betrayed me in the worst possible way. I couldn't believe that Tyler, the man I had just married, the man I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with, had been cheating on me with my sister for over a year. And I couldn't believe that Olivia was pregnant with Tyler's baby, and that they were in love with each other. The next day, I went back to the apartment that Tyler and I shared, and Tyler was there, and he tried to talk to me. Tyler said that he was sorry, that he never meant to hurt me, and that he and Olivia had fallen in love, and they couldn't help themselves. I asked Tyler how long the affair had been going on, and Tyler said that it had started about a year ago, about 6 months into our engagement. I asked Tyler how it had started, and Tyler said that Olivia had come over one night when I was working late, and they had been drinking, and one thing led to another. Tyler said that after that first time, he and Olivia had tried to stop, but that they couldn't stay away from each other, and that they had continued the affair. Tyler said that he had been planning to call off the wedding, but that he didn't know how to tell me, and that he kept hoping that his feelings for Olivia would go away. I asked Tyler why he had gone through with the wedding if he was in love with Olivia, and Tyler said that he was confused, that he loved both of us, and that he didn't know what to do. I asked Tyler about the baby, and Tyler said that Olivia had told him about the pregnancy 2 months ago, and that they had been trying to figure out what to do. I asked Tyler why Olivia had announced the affair and the pregnancy at our wedding, and Tyler said that he didn't know, that Olivia had done it without telling him, and that he was just as shocked as I was. I told Tyler that I wanted a divorce, that I could never forgive him for what he had done, and that I never wanted to see him again. Tyler started crying, and he said that he understood, and that he was sorry for everything. I moved out of the apartment that day and went to stay with my parents. My parents were devastated by what had happened. Like, they couldn't believe that Olivia had done this, and they were furious with her. My dad tried to call Olivia to confront her, but Olivia wouldn't answer his calls. My mom was heartbroken. Like, she kept saying that she didn't understand how she had raised a daughter who could do something so cruel to her own sister. I found out from my mom that Olivia had moved in with Tyler, and that they were planning to raise the baby together. I felt sick. Like, not only had Olivia stolen my husband, but she was also going to have his baby and play house with him. I filed for an annulment, And my lawyer said that because the marriage had only lasted a few hours, and because Tyler had been having an affair during our engagement, I had grounds for an annulment. The annulment process was quick, and within a few weeks, my marriage to Tyler was legally erased, like it had never happened. I've been trying to process everything that happened, and I've been going through all of the emotions: anger, betrayal, sadness, humiliation, and grief. I'm angry at Olivia for betraying me and for having an affair with my fiancé. I'm angry at Tyler for cheating on me and for lying to me, and I'm angry at myself for not seeing the signs. I feel betrayed by the two people I loved most in the world, and I feel like I can never trust anyone again. I feel sad about losing my sister, because even though Olivia betrayed me, she was still my sister, and we had been close our entire lives. I feel humiliated that my wedding was ruined in front of 200 people, and that everyone I know witnessed my sister announcing that she's pregnant with my husband's baby. And I feel grief for the loss of my marriage, the loss of my relationship with my sister, and the loss of the future I thought I was going to have. I've been going to therapy to help me process everything, and my therapist has been really helpful in helping me understand that what Olivia and Tyler did was not my fault, and that I couldn't have prevented it. My therapist has explained that some people are capable of extreme betrayal, and that Olivia's behavior suggests that she has deep-seated issues with jealousy and competition. My therapist has said that Olivia may have always been jealous of me, and that having an affair with my fiancé was her way of trying to take something that was mine. My therapist has also helped me understand that I'm grieving multiple losses right now. I'm grieving the loss of my marriage, the loss of my relationship with my sister, the loss of my trust in people, and the loss of my sense of safety and security. I've been thinking about all of the signs that I missed, and there were so many. Like the way Olivia was always around, the way she was always texting Tyler, the way they would have private conversations, the text message I found on Tyler's phone, the way they looked at each other. All of these were signs that something was going on, and I ignored them. I've been thinking about why Olivia announced the affair at my wedding, and I've come to the conclusion that Olivia did it because she wanted to humiliate me and to make sure that I couldn't have Tyler. Like if Olivia had told me about the affair privately, I might have tried to work things out with Tyler. But by announcing it publicly at my wedding, Olivia made sure that there was no way I could stay with Tyler. I've been thinking about Tyler, and about whether he ever really loved me, or whether he was just using me while he was having an affair with my sister. I've been thinking about all of the times Tyler told me he loved me, all of the times he talked about our future together, and I'm realizing that it was all a lie. I've been thinking about Olivia and Tyler's relationship, and about whether they're actually in love, or whether their relationship is just based on the excitement of the affair. I've been thinking about what's going to happen when the baby is born, and whether Olivia and Tyler are actually going to stay together and raise the baby. Part of me hopes that their relationship falls apart, because I want them to suffer the way they made me suffer. But part of me also doesn't care what happens to them, because they're not my problem anymore. I've been thinking about my family, and about how this has affected them. My parents are devastated, like they've lost one daughter to betrayal, and they're watching their other daughter go through heartbreak. My parents have cut off contact with Olivia, and they've told her that she's not welcome in their home until she apologizes and makes things right. But I've told my parents that even if Olivia apologizes, I don't think I can ever forgive her or have a relationship with her again. What Olivia did was unforgivable, and I don't think there's any coming back from it. I've been thinking about the future, and about how I'm going to move forward after this betrayal. Right now, I'm focused on healing and on rebuilding my life. I'm focused on my career, on my friendships, and on taking care of myself. I've been thinking about whether I'll ever be able to trust someone again, and whether I'll ever be able to have a romantic relationship again. Right now, I can't imagine opening my heart to someone, because I'm so afraid of being betrayed again. But I'm working on this in therapy, and I'm trying to remind myself that not everyone is like Olivia and Tyler, and that there are good people in the world who are capable of being honest and faithful. I've been thinking about the wedding, and about all of the money that was spent on a wedding that lasted only a few hours. My parents had paid for most of the wedding, and they lost thousands of dollars. I feel guilty about this, even though it's not my fault. I've been thinking about all of the gifts that we received, and I've been returning them to the people who gave them to us with a note explaining what happened. It's been humiliating having to explain to people why I'm returning their wedding gifts, but I feel like it's the right thing to do. I've been thinking about the photos from the wedding, and about how I have all of these beautiful photos from what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. But now when I look at them, all I see is betrayal and lies. I've put all of the photos in a box, and I've hidden them away because I can't look at them. I've been thinking about other people who might be in similar situations, who might have a family member or a friend who is trying to steal their partner, And I want to tell them to pay attention to the red flags, to trust their instincts, and to not dismiss their concerns just because they don't want to seem paranoid. I want to tell them that if someone is being overly friendly with their partner, if someone is always trying to be around their partner, if someone is texting their partner constantly, those are red flags and they should investigate further. I want to tell them that family members are capable of betrayal just like anyone else, and that they shouldn't assume that their sister or their brother or their cousin would never do something like this to them. I've been thinking about the lessons I've learned from this experience, and there are so many. I've learned that you can't always trust the people who are closest to you, and that sometimes the people who seem the most supportive are actually the most toxic. I've learned to pay attention to red flags and to trust my instincts, because there were so many times when I felt like something was wrong, but I dismissed those feelings because I didn't want to seem paranoid or jealous. I've learned that some betrayals are unforgivable, and that it's okay to cut people out of your life when they've hurt you in such a fundamental way. And I've learned that I'm stronger than I thought I was, and that I can survive even the most devastating betrayals. Thank you for reading my story. And if you've been through something similar, if your sibling betrayed you, if someone had an affair with your partner, if your wedding was ruined, or if you've had to cut a family member out of your life because of betrayal, I would love to hear how you dealt with it and where you are now. I'm still in the early stages of healing, still processing the betrayal and the humiliation, still figuring out how to move forward, but I'm determined to survive this and to build a life that's filled with people who truly love me and who would never betray me.